coffee morning again. Well, coffee afternoon. Well, it's not quite afternoon. Almost. Got no biscuits again. Or cookies if you're American. So I'm going to make some. These are quite nice simple ones. These are sort of a sugar cookie cum shortbread hybrid. Shortbread hybrid, that's a good word, isn't it? Shortbread is usually much denser because you don't put any kind of leavening agent in it. Whereas a sugar cookie will have something like baking soda or baking powder in it to make it rise a bit. So we're actually making a cross between the two. We're going to make a sugar cookie without the leavening agent, but we're going to add some corn flour. Now I've got this recipe from John over at Preppy Kitchen. So we're going to give this recipe a go. We want flour, sugar, butter, corn flour, some eggs, a little bit of salt and some vanilla essence, and that's all there is to it. So we're going to start off by putting softened unsalted butter. I've got 227 grams there. That's going to go into the mixer, and then I've got some sugar. It can be granulated, it can be caster. How much have I got there? 200 grams of that, and we're going to put that into there. Put on our beater, and we're just then going to make sure that's nicely creamed together. Right, that's gone all nice and light and fluffy. So the sugar's all incorporated. I've had a bit of a scrape down. I've just turned it down a little bit, and I'm actually going to turn it down a little bit more. And I'm now going to add 2 eggs. And then we're just going to turn that back up a bit, and we're going to beat them eggs in. So I've had another scrape down, and whilst that's beating, or carrying on beating that egg in, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. John would say in Preppy Kitchen, if you wanted, you could add a bit of lemon extract, lemon zest, really whatever flavour you fancy. But we're going to stick with vanilla. So that's just about mixed in. So what I'm going to do at this stage is I'm just going to turn it off. I'm going to remove the paddle, the beater, because what we're now going to do is sift in the dry ingredients. So all we've got left to put in there now is our plain flour. Like I say, we're not doing any sort of leavening agents in this one, so it's not baking powder, it's not self-raising flour, we're not adding any baking powder or anything like that. What we're putting in is good old plain flour, and I've got there 480 grams, and like always we want to sift that in, partly to get rid of the lumps, but also to get a bit of air in there, as it were. I've got 3/4 teaspoon of salt, which didn't want to go in there. And then, like I say, we're adding corn flour now, or corn starch. Here I've got 40 grams of that. Now, the reason we're adding this is because it helps give a much cleaner edge on our cookies. So they don't tend to, like some cookies you make and they have made in the past, they're more like drop cookies. They put them as they go in the oven and warm up, which by the way, we're not putting them straight in the oven, so that's why the oven's on. They tend to spread. These, the cornstarch, should prevent that spreading, so you get nice clean cut edges on your cookies or your biscuits. So we're just going to get that all sifted into there, and then I'll be putting the beater back on, and we will continue until we've got that all incorporated. So that's got that flour, or flours, all mixed in there. Now you could at this stage roll it, but because it is quite soft, even though it's quite a stiff dough, because it's quite soft, when you then try and pick it up to transfer it onto the baking sheets, as it were, you end up obviously slightly disforming it or deforming it. So we're going to chill it. We're going to put it in the fridge for about an hour. Towards the end of that hour, oops, flicking it everywhere. Towards the end of that hour, we will be putting the oven on. We're going to put the oven on 375, I think about 160, 170 with a fan, and then we'll be rolling out and cutting them. So what I'm going to do at this stage is, you know, you can do it between some cling film, you can wrap it in cling film, or as I'm going to do, I'm just going to scrape it out of here and I'm going to put it in a big freezer bag. And then, like I say, we're going to flatten it slightly. Now, if you haven't got a big enough space or big enough sheet of cling film or bag or whatever, you can split it. And in fact, it might not hurt to split it anyway, simply because when it comes to rolling it, you can then have half of it sat there in the fridge, still chilling, keeping nice and chilled, while you roll the first bit out. But that's up to you. So, like I say, all I'm going to do is, once I've got all this out of here, is flatten it slightly, and it's going to go into that fridge. So here we are, just about an hour later. It's nicely chilled. The oven's on. I think earlier I said I got the temperature wrong. I don't normally work in Fahrenheit, and it's actually 190. So set your oven to 190, which it is, and then we're going to get ready to roll it. So we just want to add a little bit of flour to our surface, and like I said, it may be that you decide to split this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tear out one piece, and I'm going to put that back in the fridge for now. And like I said, the real reason we're doing that is more just to make it easier to handle. Okay, you might find, because of the nature of this dough, that it will sort of try and crumble a little bit as you're rolling it. Don't worry too much about that. And then all we're going to do is just use a cookie cutter, any ones you want, to cut them out. And don't worry about the odd little bits, because we can use them and re-roll it. So it's just a matter of going through, cutting them out, and then, like I say, you should find that using the chilled dough, it will be easier to pick it up and transfer it onto the baking sheet. So that's most of that first batch rolled and cut. They're now going to go into the oven for about 12 minutes. Depending on how you like them, really you can have them starting to go a little bit sort of brown, golden brown, but they probably look a bit better if you don't let them start browning. So as soon as the edges look like they're starting to catch, if you like, starting to brown, then it's probably done. And then we'll be bringing them out, and then as usual, transfer them to wire racks to cool. I've got a whole bunch of them all out now cooling. I did some, the later ones I did round. They've just come out the oven, so they're still cooling a bit. And then I had a little odd bit, so I'll cook that. Bit softer than the others because this one's still warm, quite a lot warm, but outside is sort of crisp, slightly softer in the middle. This is more soft than they will be once they've cooled down and hardened a little bit, but sweet, hence their sugar cookies. And after watching them a little bit, some started to catch around the edges, but there you go. There's our hexagonal ones, our plain sugar cookies, courtesy of John from Preppy Kitchen's YouTube channel. I might have another cup of coffee now.